Today we're going to be talking all about my favorite brushes and tools to use. We have everything in every different price point. So whether you have more money to spend on brushes or just a few dollars at a time, I've got something for you. If you're new here, I'm Kate and I'm definitely not a makeup artist. My makeup skills are average at best, especially when it comes to eyeshadow. So it's really important to me that tools and brushes kind of do the work for me. That's why my channel is all about really easy makeup. I do a lot of really natural makeup looks. And in my product reviews, I tend to be more critical because we're all out here hustling for our money and we want our dollar to go a long way. So if that sounds good to you, I hope you'll subscribe and let's get started with foundation and concealer. My favorite foundation brush is new to my collection and it's one that has just blown everything else out of the water, and it's the Makeup Forever HD Skin Foundation Brush 109. It's expensive at $44, but it's the kind of brush that really does the work for me. So for me, it is worth it to spend my own money on this. They describe it as an ultra soft, diamond-shaped foundation brush with densely packed flexible bristles that deliver a streak-free, precise application. That is absolutely true. Few foundation brushes are never streaky, and for me and then the next brush, those are the only two that I really swear by. I'll drop in a quick application clip I filmed today using this brush. It just spreads out product like a damn dream. It's super soft. It blends things out so quickly without losing the coverage somehow, and it's never streaky. It's just perfect to kind of fit around the nose, but if you flip it on the other side, you could cover a lot of area at once. It's amazing. I love it. I can't get over it, and it's my #1 pick for foundation. My next favorite foundation brush is one that you will have seen me use in a lot of videos, and it's the Fit Glow Flawless Finish Foundation Brush. This is $26, and FYI, you can always use my permanent coupon code KATE20 for 20% off your order. This is also never streaky. Despite how gunky and dirty it gets sometimes, it's just a perfect brush. I feel like it's the perfect surface area for me too. I can get it under my eyes because it's a little bit angled as well. It's just a really easy brush to use and it always makes my foundation look great. My only con is that the handle is very short and it's a little heavy, so I find it kind of awkward to grip. I have something called EDS and a lot of times it makes gripping things really difficult for me, so I would really like for them to extend the handle and make it a little bit lighter and a little bit longer. That would be really helpful for me. But in terms of the actual brush, I just find it to be so effective at making foundation go on really beautifully. And what's great is it's like half the price almost of the Makeup Forever brush. Moving on to concealer, there's only one brush that I like for concealer, and it is the Fit Glow Vegan Teddy Conceal and Correct brush. I like this because it's dual-ended. So, oh, I have piece of tinfoil on it. So I like to use this larger, fluffier end under my eyes. It's perfect for just hitting this area right here where I have a lot of volume loss and subsequent darkness. And then on the other side, this is what I use for spot concealing. So I'll just dot it on wherever I have the concealer and I'll blend it out. So it's truly the only concealer brush I need. It's 2-in-1, so you're getting great bang for your buck, and it's $32 on the website. But again, you can use my code KATE20 for 20% off. Next, we're gonna talk about bronzer. My current favorite brush is the Jones Road The Bronzer Blush, just because of the shape and how soft it is, but it is expensive and there are totally alternatives that you can buy that are more affordable. You don't need a brush that's $44. I just find for me personally, it's worth it to spend that money when it comes to foundation because it's so important for foundation and concealer to look really good and really seamless. When it comes to bronzer, I feel like you can really get a lot of different options, but I'm just really loving this one right now. It's super soft, it's fluffy, and it's the perfect shape. If I apply it right here when I'm doing my bronzer, in fact, I'll drop in a clip so you can see it in action. I just find that it really hits the forehead super well, and when I turn it on the long side, it hits under my cheek perfectly, so I can add a bronzed and also slightly contoured effect. And then if I use the wide side, I can get my whole forehead and down my neck. So it's a really perfect shape, really soft and beautiful, but by no means do you have to spend $44 on a bronzer brush. This is discontinued. It's so old, it's disgusting. There's no label on it, but this is an old Sephora collection brush and it's still going strong. The bristles are totally fine and it was way cheaper than the Jones Road brush. So I love the Sephora collection brushes. Definitely check those out. I'm sure they have a similar option, and if I see one, I'll try to link it down below. By far, my favorite brush for cream bronzer is this Beauty Pie Seamless Foundation Buffing Brush. If you don't have a membership, this is $45, but if you do have a Beauty Pie membership, it's just $14. And if you want to try Beauty Pie, you can get $10 off your first order with the code Kate Sent Me. What makes this perfect for cream bronzer for me is the fact that it's really densely packed. So versus something super fluffy that's gonna blend out something really easily, really quickly, with more kind of emollient cream products like the Say Sun Melt Bronzer, for example, or the Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancer, I like that this is densely packed because those cream products take a little bit more time to blend than just like, whacking on a powder product. And when it comes to cream products, I find that I need a brush that's a little bit smaller, otherwise it can kind of get out of hand really quickly. So this is great because I can kind of use it as a cream contour, I can use it as a bronzer, and I can just kind of buff it all over my face, and the smaller shape gives me way more control. It's super soft, easy to clean, never streaky. I love it. You don't have to get a Beauty Pie membership. I'm sure that you can find something similar, but I don't like to own unnecessary products in my collection, so this is exactly what I need it to do, and I don't own anything else similar that I can personally recommend, but I just love this one. A runner-up for cream bronzers is the Say The Buffing Brush. It's just that it has a really, really heavy short handle, kind of like the Fit Glow foundation brush, but a lot bigger. I find I have to like literally grip it like this and apply it on my face because my fingers get so tired. So I would just give a heads up if you have problems with gripping like I do. But if you have the Say Sun Melt Bronzer, their brush is awesome because that formula is like really stiff. So you really need something super densely packed that's just gonna like blend that formula a lot easier. So I do like that one. I just didn't want to include it because it's like really, really heavy. But speaking of Say, they make my favorite powder brush, which is the Fluffy Setting Powder Brush. This is $26 and you can get it at Sephora. This one is super lightweight and it's the perfect size and shape for powder for me. It's great if I just want to add a little bit and buff it around my nose, a little on my chin. I'm not the kind of person who likes to put powder all over my face, although I do wear powder every single day, so it's something that I use all the time. I would rather kind of put powder strategically in the areas that I need it, right in my T-zone, around my nose and chin, and then I'm good to go. I rarely put powder under my eyes, but it totally could fit there if you wanted it to. It's just really fluffy and soft, and I think it's a great option. Now let's talk about blush brushes. The one that you would have seen me use the most on my channel has sadly been discontinued, but I found a link for you. This is the Ecotools 360 Sheer Face Brush. What's great about this is it's a stipple brush. So if you look from the side, it's kind of sparse in there. And so you're not getting a ton of brush hairs, which means it's not gonna pick up on a lot of product. So when you have really pigmented powder blushes, if you just use a brush like this, it makes it so much easier and you don't have to be quite as careful when you're applying it to your face. I don't know why they discontinued this. I feel like this was the best product that Ecotools made, but you can still get it, I think, at Amazon and Walmart. And I will leave a link to this on Amazon if you wanna buy it. It's the best. It's just the best freaking brush. The only thing is sometimes the size of this is a little too big. Like if I plop it on my cheek, sometimes it goes a little bit too high up here and a little bit too low down here. So I appreciate brushes that are a little bit smaller in surface area, but I just think that this is so great when you're dealing with really pigmented powders. If you don't want to buy a discontinued product, one that I know is still available but may not be for much longer is very similar. This is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill JH06 My Everything brush. The Garso twins recommended this and it's so great for very pigmented powder products. It's $20 and I found it on a website called the Diosa Beauty Shop. I'll leave it linked below if you want to buy it. I think it probably was discontinued, but I have it and I wanted to talk about it, and you can technically still get it. It's perfectly shaped. It fits right on your cheeks, the perfect size, and it is so fluffy. It is not densely packed at all. So if you have a really pigmented product, again, it's one that's just really easy to kind of sheer out, so it does the work for you. If you have a powder blush that's on the more sheer or buildable side and you're not quite as worried about getting something that's like really fluffy, then I love this Rephr brush. This is Rephr 04, and this is $39, but they have a concept store where you can get it for $19.50 right now. And basically the way that the website works is you just have to submit honest feedback about their products so that they can improve them, and then you get the products at a discount, which I think is pretty cool. I'd have to look into it more to see really how it works. works, but from what I can tell, it seems like a pretty cool service. This is just so versatile. It can be used for blush, for highlighter, for contour, you know, whatever you want. It's so soft. I just love the way that Rephr brushes feel and the way that they look. And, you know, Rephr's expensive, but it's not the most expensive brush here. And personally, I like using this with my more sheer powder blushes. So like the Dior Rosy Glow Backstage Blush, the Persona blushes, my sadly discontinued Bare Minerals Bounce and Blur blushes, loved those. This works great with those, and that's like a cream powder hybrid. It's just so versatile, and so if you want a brush that really does a lot, this one's a great option. By far, my favorite brush for cream blush is this Sephora collection brush in number 47. Unfortunately, the first one I got broke and came unglued, and it came completely detached from the handle. But when I sent them a picture, they sent me a new one immediately, and I'm really hoping this one doesn't break too, because it is the perfect brush for blending, especially liquid products, liquids or creams. I'll insert a clip here of me applying the Charlotte Tilbury Matte Beauty Blush Wand in Pillow Talk. It's just so perfect at blending out creams. It's small enough that it doesn't get everywhere, but it just makes everything so seamless on the skin. It truly just is the best brush I've ever found for cream and liquid blushes. It's $30, and I also think it's really versatile. You totally could fit this under your eyes as concealer, and it's supposed to be a foundation brush, so you can use it for foundation as well. I just think this is a little bit too small for foundation. Like, I would be sitting here all day trying to blend this bitch, you know? I like foundation brushes that are a lot bigger, and so it's just like, blend it in a second, but you could totally use this for cream highlighter as well. I mean, it's a versatile brush, and I think it's great as long as this part doesn't come unglued. My last favorite blush brush has also been discontinued, but I did find it on Walmart, and it's $10, and it's the e.l.f. Precision Airbrush Stipple. I feel like a year ago, everybody was using this. It was the brush for blending cream blush. It's so good, and it's a stipple brush, so I'll show you up close. You see all those tiny little brush hairs that really helps to shear out the product? I'm so bummed e.l.f. discontinued this. I feel like everybody freaking loved this brush. Either way, I'll leave a link in the description box where you can get it for just $10 at Walmart, and it blends creams really well, especially pigmented ones. I applied this today with the Kulfi Mendy Moment cream blush in Sandalwood Swirls, and that's a really pigmented, long-lasting product that sets down, and I dotted it on, blended it out super easily, and it was perfect. It does the work for you, and it's just 10 bucks. Moving on to highlighter. I'm not a big highlighter person because my skin does tend to get a little bit oily when I'm wearing makeup, so I just use whatever brush I have on hand. My favorite for blending liquid highlighter, especially the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, has always been this Real Techniques brush. This is a contour brush, so as you can see, it's quite small, and it would perfectly fit here on the sides of my nose, etc., but I think it's great for cream and liquid highlighters. This also seems to be sadly discontinued, but I will leave an alternative in the description box. They have a ton of similar brushes. Something you could totally use that's on their website right now is the Everything Face Makeup Brush, which is designed to be multifunctional. There are a ton of options on the Real Techniques website, and I think you can get them at Ulta as well. I just wanted to talk about their price point and the quality of the brushes. The Everything Face Makeup Brush is only $6.79 on Target right now, so they just make really wonderful soft brushes that last a really long time. They never shed on me, they're never streaky, and they're super affordable, so major shout out to Real Techniques. My favorite brush for powder highlighter is this Beauty Pie Soft Highlighting and Setting Powder Brush, $45 without a membership or $12 with a membership. What I like about it is that it's very small. I hate those like big fan brushes for highlighter. I feel like they just get highlighter all over your cheek, and then you got like way too much, and then you look super shiny. That's not the vibe that I'm going for. I like my highlighter to be very strategically and thoughtfully placed. So the fact that this is very, very tiny works great for me. I like to dust a little bit down the bridge of my nose, tiny bit on the Cupid's bow, and then I'll blend a little bit on the tops of my cheekbones, and then I'll kind of blend it up to my forehead, and I'll also kind of go under my brow bone as well, and that's all I need. Again, you don't need to get a Beauty Pie membership just to get the brushes. There are so many similar things out there. I'm sure you could find them on Real Techniques, Sephora Collection, Rephr, anything. Morphe has a ton of brushes that are similar, I'm sure, but this is just the one that I have and I use and I really like. If you can't get your hands on the Beauty Pie highlighter and setting powder brush, this is a great alternative from Morphe. This is their M510 Pro Round Blender Shadow Brush. It's $12, so it's super affordable on Ulta. It's great for highlighter. It's like almost the same thing, but the bristles are a little bit longer and a little bit less dense, so it even blends out highlighter on a little bit of a larger surface area, as the Beauty Pie is like a little bit more dense, but this one is almost the same brush, and so for $12, it's a great option. But of course, for those of you who have Beauty Pie memberships and want to take advantage of that, maybe go for the Beauty Pie. But this one from Morphe is just as great for highlighter, and it's just, you know, a really fluffy brush with long bristles, so it's not gonna pack on, you know, intense powder highlighter. It's just gonna look really nice, really natural, and it's a really great option. Now let's talk about eyeshadow brushes. By a mile, my favorite brush for smudging on the lower lash line is this Rephr Brush 02. It's $24, but if you join their concept store, you get it for just $12. And it is the perfect size, shape, and density. It just blends eyeshadow on the lower lash line perfectly. It's not too pokey. It just fits right where the lash line is. It is absolutely the best smudge brush I've ever found. And I find a lot of smudge brushes, like especially the MAC brushes, can be a little bit scratchy and pokey. I don't remember if it's the 219 or the 217 pencil brush, but I used to only use that one. And now I have this and a more affordable one I'm gonna talk about next. And they're so much softer and so much easier to use. I just feel like this not only applies the product, but blends it at the same time. It's incredible. It's by far my favorite pick for a smudger brush, and I would say if you have the budget, I think it's worth it to get this brush because it just basically does the work for you. But if you're on a budget, this is a great option as well. This is the e.l.f. Cosmetics Precision Smudge Brush, and it's on sale right now for just $4.80. This is a lot smaller. It's just a tiny, tiny little pencil brush, so you can really get like in the inner corner if you want, although I don't really use a lot of inner corner highlights, but you can get on your lower lash line as well. I find that it kind of applies the product and then doesn't blend. You know, it is a lot smaller versus something like the Rephr 02 that kind of applies and blends at the same time. I feel like this lays down the product really well. Then I just wipe it off on the back of my hand really quickly, and then I can use it to smudge. So I still do prefer Rephr 02, but for $4.80, this is great. And it's so much softer than the MAC pencil brush, so it's a win-win. On the topic of smudging, I also really love Rephr's Brush 12. They say this is to smudge, smoke, and shade, but I really like using this to lay down cream products on my lid. A lot of times I'll use my fingers for cream products, but sometimes I just really don't want to get my fingers messy. This one's great because it's small, so if I want to take something like my Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize pot, I'll dip it in there, and then I can just apply it right on the lid if I don't want to bring it up to the crease. So it's the perfect shape and size to just get on my lid, and it's also super dense so that it just keeps the product there. It doesn't like blend it out. I haven't tried using this to like blend out and smudge out a smoky eye because I'm not exactly a smoky eye kind of girl, but for laying down cream eyeshadow, I love it. A brush I've had for years that I use for just about anything is the MAC 217 synthetic blending brush. This is $30, and you know, it's okay. I think MAC brushes are a little bit overrated. Sometimes they can be a tiny bit scratchy. I've had mine for over 10 years though, and it's only just starting to kind of get some brush hairs that are just like, you know, diving off the deep end. They're not exactly uniform with the rest. So it is getting a little bit old, but it still works just fine. I did see on the Ulta reviews for this brush though, that everyone's saying that the MAC quality has changed. They're scratchier, they're shedding. So I can't speak to any new 217 brush. I can only speak to the old one, that this is just very small. It's perfect for blending if you don't want something to like blend away immediately. It kind of blends just the line that you want it to blend, but you can also keep blending and like blend out into the brow bone. But I like that it's smaller because I can just hold it in the crease and kind of concentrate the color there. It also works great with cream shadows like my Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize or powder shadows. So I think it's a really, really versatile brush. Also, if I smudge something on the lower lash line and I want to blend it out and I don't want the color as concentrated, I'll take this and I'll just smudge it on my lash line a little bit more. It really does so many things, and that's why it's one of my favorites. Next up, let's talk about my favorite blending brush for eyeshadow, and it's the Morphe M433 Pro Firm Blending Fluff Brush. This was also recommended by the Garceau twins, and It's so good. It's so good. Honestly, I might buy like 5 of them just in case this gets discontinued because Morphe is going out of business. But maybe that's just Morphe stores. I know they were closing Morphe stores. I'm not sure if they're actually going out of business, but this is only $9 and it's so good at blending eyeshadow. I want to own multiple just in case I can no longer get them. So up close, you can see it's like super fluffy and really almost kind of sparse. And so that just creates like the perfect kind of blending mechanism for eyeshadow because it's just so fluffy that really you get in there and it shears things out really quickly. Especially when I'm in a rush and I'm applying eyeshadow and I need it to blend really quickly, this is my go-to. If I could only own one eyeshadow brush for blending, it would definitely be this. Another blending brush I love is Rephr's 15 brush. They say that it's a versatile, medium-sized crease brush. Whew, all these like brush words are getting me totally tongue-tied. A versatile, medium-sized crease brush built for impactful pigments and effortless blending. Yes, totally agree with that. It really just blends things effortlessly. It's so soft and it's interesting when you apply it on your eyes and you're blending something out, it looks kind of small, but then it kind of, I don't know, it's almost as if like the surface area of it increases. It's really beautiful at blending eyeshadow. I find it to be so effective, so soft. It's just a great quality. And even though I would probably choose the Morphe over the Rephr 15 purely because of the price point, this one is equally as beautiful. But if you want something even cheaper than that Morphe brush for $9, Wet n Wild makes some really good brushes. This is just $2.99 on Ulta, and it's the Wet n Wild crease brush. It's great. I mean, it does the job. It's, you know, a similar size to like the MAC 217 brush. It's a little bit smaller than I'd like for a blending brush. Like I like that the Rephr brush 15 has longer bristles, which seems to blend eyeshadow better. Same with Morphe, longer bristles that are also more sparse, so it helps to blend better. But this for $2.99 is a really good option. And the last eyeshadow brush that I love is the Morphe M04 large pointed blender brush. This is $10 on Ulta and it definitely has longer bristles. And so I would reach for this one when I want a more diffused look. And it's definitely better for powder shadows. I find the more dense or the shorter the bristles, the better for creams. The longer, the fluffier, kind of better for powders in my experience. Take everything with a grain of salt. I'm really not good at blending eyeshadow, so do with that what you will. But it's really nice because it has longer bristles, so you really can diffuse it super quickly if you want. And it's the kind of brush that I reach for when I bring a shadow all the way up to the brow bone, and then I don't want it to be quite as pigmented. I really need to like blend that out like I've done today. And it's a really great option for just $10. And the last product I have is my favorite eyelash curler. This is the Shiseido eyelash curler. You can get it on Sephora for $24 and I've been using this for a really long time. And you can also buy the little replacement pads because you do want to make sure you're replacing those. Otherwise, it won't be as effective as at curling your lashes as much. But it's great and I feel like you only need to buy this once and then you're good to go and you don't need to buy it again. So I would definitely recommend splurging on an eyelash curler. I have tried so many eyelash curlers throughout my life of loving makeup. Revlon eyelash curlers. I've purchased like every eyelash curler at the drugstore when I was younger and it just wasn't really working out for me. I tried the Rephr one that they sent me and I didn't love it. I just felt like it wasn't curling my lashes quite as well as the Shiseido. There's a reason everybody talks about the Shiseido. I used to use the Kevin Aquan and I loved it, but I think they discontinued it. And now I'm happy to have the Shiseido, worth every penny that I spent. And you know, because you can buy the replacement pads, you should only have to buy this once. And I really like it because it's flatter for an eyelash curler. I'll show you up close. You can see it's not super curved, so it's easier to fit all of your lashes into the curler at once. It's just really good. That's it. Those are all my favorite brushes and one tool that I use on a regular basis. Let me know if you want to see this for other things, like for, you know, applying skincare. Sometimes I use a spatula for my face masks or, you know, my LED masks, my curling irons, hair brushes, all of that. I don't know if that's really like your kind of thing, but if you want to see it, I'm happy to film it. So I hope you enjoyed this. You know, let us know in the comment section below if there are any other brushes you think people would really like. Truly, in the world of makeup brushes, I haven't tried that much. These are just the ones that I've purchased and that have been sent to me that I really, really fell in love with. But please let us know if there's stuff that I'm missing here that everybody needs to know about. And if you made it this far, thanks so much. I hope you're having a great day and I'll see you in the next one.